All right, guys. I've always kind of wanted to do this what if. The first thing I thought about when doing a Tanjiro what if was this very what if. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna be dropping it today because it's sitting on my laptop. And well, frankly speaking, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have that much time to record today, but I gotta get something out for you guys as well. So with that being said, today we're gonna be saying what would happen if Tanjiro was born with Yoriichi's abilities or his potential or his talent or whatever. But yeah, so that's basically what we're going to be seeing happen here. So if you guys do it, if you're enjoying this movie, please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and leave what if suggestions in the comment section below. It always helps. And thank you. Without further ado, let's dive into the what if right now. So we start this story off with what you would probably expect. Tanjiro is born and everything goes about the way you would expect, except for when Tanjiro turns around the age of 4 years old, because that's where this story takes a gigantic leap and goes completely sideways. For starters, Tanjiro is still Tanjiro. I'm not changing his personality. He's still Tanjiro. But this guy is extremely different than most children. For starters, Tanjiro was much faster, much stronger, much more capable. He could just kind of do anything his dad or mom asked him to do with really no difficulty at all. It was just with ease. Tanjiro being somewhat of, well, like I already said, talented of anything, but it was almost as if he was talented at life itself. This is because Tanjiro literally, as he was born, literally could see the transparent world. And that's what he could always see. Tanjiro didn't see things like everybody else. He was just different from birth. You know what I mean? So as everything would keep going on like this for Tanjiro, he would keep on just living life, being a coal salesman, helping his mom and dad as you would probably expect. Eventually seeing that whole event take place with his dad, when basically his dad cut down that bear, that tall grizzly bear, seeing the Hinokami no Kagura, immediately memorizing it because he has tons of potential and talent, and ultimately logging it down in his head, as his dad would obviously have showed it to him so that he can continue the ceremony for years to come. So after all of this would happen and take place, this is basically where we would then see Tanjiro basically nod his head as he would agree to his dad to obviously do that. After all this is said and done, eventually we see the day where Tanjiro's dad dies. And ultimately, after all this would happen, this one we would then see Tanjiro ultimately be sad along with the rest of his siblings, as now it would be his job to be like the man of the house. Ultimately, this all leads to the day where we would see Tanjiro get told by his mom to bring some coal down the mountain, which is exactly what Tanjiro would go do. So when Tanjiro goes to bring the coal down the mountain, he tries to go back up after, and obviously the old man stops him and tells him that there are demons around. You know how that goes. So anyways, as we could probably expect, the tragedy still happens in this timeline. Honestly, in the original script for this, I'm just going to be honest with you, I kind of just envisioned Tanjiro just instantly defeating Muzan. But the thing about that is I can't even really call that a movie, nor can I even call that a what if. It's more like an instantaneously we're just out of here story. It's not even a what if. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, that's not what happened. So anyways, I just tried to clearly change that because it was horrible. And yeah, I just wanted to let you know that was the original script. But then I thought about it a little bit more and I was like, why would he even have a Nichiren blade? How would he even beat Muzan? It doesn't even make sense. So yeah, the tragedy still happens as you would expect. And like everything else goes, we would then see Tanjiro just be saddened by his whole family being dead until he touches Nezuko, where he would then realize that Nezuko was actually still alive. So when that happened, Tanjiro would go running down the mountain trying to get somebody to help his sister, his last sister that was obviously alive, or his last sibling that was alive. I'm pretty sure he has another sister, but you get the point. So anyway, Tanjiro running at full speed would obviously have the encounter with Giyu, as obviously he would try to kill Nezuko because, well, Nezuko is a demon, and well, Giyu knows that obviously Nezuko is a demon now. Eventually, Giyu would realize that Tanjiro and Nezuko might be different and ultimately send Tanjiro to Lysa Odorakaki to receive training. So once this happens, this is basically where we then see Tanjiro go on to train with Odorakaki. That demon encounter is still happening, but since Tanjiro is way stronger and can see the transparent world and stuff, he's able to react to the demon's movements and keep him at bay. I mean, Tanjiro was doing that without transparent world, so just think about that. He has that off rip, along with all of Yoriichi's power and stuff. So yeah, I don't really think it'd be that hard for Tanjiro to do that. Anyways, after all this happens, this is where Urarkaki will begin to teach Tanjiro water breathing, which Tanjiro would master in about 3 days. Yeah, I'm not even joking. Tanjiro masters water breathing in 3 days and immediately tells Urarkaki that this isn't for him. He can't really use water breathing. It's not really his speed. He doesn't really like it. And ultimately, Otakaki, in response to Tanjiro doing this, as he genuinely can't believe what he's saying. Also, when they basically went up the mountain and he tried to leave all those traps for Tanjiro, like in the main timeline, yeah, that just didn't work on Tanjiro at all, as he has the transparent world and could just see all of the stuff. So, yeah, Tanjiro just kind of easily evading all these different things with ease, surprising Otakaki as he got down the mountain with literally no difficulty, still having his insanely good sense of smell as well. But the important thing to keep in mind here is that Tanjiro just has the transparent world and is just way stronger and faster than everybody else. So yeah, and he's been that way since birth. And obviously, as he's gotten older, he's gotten even stronger. So ultimately, also just Tanjiro's day-to-day life, also being a coal salesman, has also enhanced his abilities as well, just a little bit too. But I thought that was pretty obvious, so I didn't really feel the need to tell you that. Anyways, Tanjiro would eventually begin to start learning how to use sun breathing. Why is this? Because Tanjiro, being a talented person or whatever, would obviously be able to see that it would make some sense to see if the Hinokami Kagura could be converted to something of more use. As since he had been practicing that, he basically turned it into a sword form and realized that it was secretly sun breathing. Whoa. Obviously, Otakaki doesn't know what this is, so Tanjiro doesn't know what it is either. But he would tell him that maybe somebody could tell him what it is if he were to go to like the Demon Slayer corpse. So after all of this happens, this is basically where we see Otakaki send Tanjiro way earlier in this timeline to go to final selection, as he was way more powerful. Obviously, Nezuko would still have to sleep for 2 years, so afterwards, Tanjiro would just get sent on missions like after he passes final selection, which obviously Tanjiro would pass the final selection without even trying. He beats the hand demon very easily, as it can't really do anything against Tanjiro. He's too fast, too powerful, and just way too strong, easily taking it down, avenging Sabuto and Makomo with ease. After all this happens, this is basically where we see him get into that situation with Genya, and after that happens, this is where basically he would leave final selection. Honestly, I was gonna say with that, actually that Genya thing may not even happen here because he's taking it early. So actually, never mind, the Genya thing doesn't happen. I don't know why I wrote that. Anyways, Tanjiro goes home and basically Nezuko was still asleep. So eventually the Demon Slayer Corps, acknowledging Tanjiro as a Demon Slayer, would obviously give him missions to go on while he waits on Nezuko to wake up. So during this time, Tanjiro kills like 40 demons, and not even joking, he takes down 40 demons. He kills demons faster than anybody. Muzan catches wind of this and is genuinely shocked by a demon slayer being able to do this efficient of work against demons, as killing this many demons in the Demon Slayer Corps was actually a very impressive feat nonetheless. I'm just gonna tell you off rip, I don't even remember how many demons you have to actually kill before you're allowed to become a Hashira. So if Tanjiro's already killed more than enough to become a Hashira, then just know that they basically think Tanjiro should probably be, ready to become one. Ultimately, what I will say is this: if Tanjiro even was capable or being eligible to become a Hashira, dude would still have to go to the Butterfly Mansion before they allowed him to even do that. So since Tanjiro hasn't done that yet, it wouldn't really matter. And Tanjiro, again, if you didn't know this, doesn't really care about ranking and stuff. All he wants to do is get revenge against Muzan for what he did to his family. So ultimately, after this takes place, this is where we then see the 2 years finally pass, where Nezuko would wake up, get in the box that Otakaki gives Tanjiro, as they would embark on their actual journey. Now, the thing about this is, we're actually going to skip everything up until Tanjiro would go into the city where he would encounter the likes of Muzan. The reason for this is simple. In this story, it's just straight up obvious to me that Tanjiro would not, he would have already have like defeated all the other demons while he was going on those missions way earlier, as the demons were already there. So yeah, the fact that Tanjiro beat final selection earlier just meant that he beat the other demons earlier. Also, just to talk about some of Tanjiro's missions, I think it's important to talk about, he had already went to like Mount Niabaru by himself, before all the other demon slayers even knew like really all that much about it. Basically, he was like the first one they sent up there basically in this timeline. And so Tanjiro already beat Rui and stuff. So he already had beaten like a lower moon. And he didn't really care to go to the Butterfly Mansion to even report that he had done that. But he took down all the demons there with ease. And he also took down the drum demon. I already said he took down the hand demon in final selection. So yeah, all the demons Tanjiro basically took it down in the main timeline. At this point, he's already taken down. Besides like Daki and Akaza and like all the upper moons and stuff. So anyway, as this all would happen, this is where we would then see Tanjiro encounter Muzan in the public. So what would happen here is a lot different than in the main timeline, as we would see Muzan look at Tanjiro and see the Hanafuda earrings and would think about Yoriichi, as he would get really mad and ultimately turn two people into demons, sending them towards Tanjiro to distract him. And obviously, it's Muzan would probably expect Tanjiro would be flustered by this and obviously stop tracing him, of course. Except that wouldn't happen at all, as Tanjiro would easily defeat both of these demons before anybody even really saw what happened, as Muzan would look and be shocked, as the only thing he can see now is not just Tanjiro, but he would see Yoriichi reincarnated or something, because what the heck, those movements were just like his. Again, Tanjiro is stronger than Yoriichi, obviously, and the reason for that is just very simple. With the next generation that comes, the older one is like surpassed. So that's my logic for saying Tanjiro is stronger than like Yoriichi. But he still basically has Yoriichi's potential just in like the current day. But honestly, let's be real. Even if Tanjiro wasn't stronger than Yoriichi, it really wouldn't matter against Muzan. Yoriichi negative diff Muzan and he really couldn't do anything about it except turn into a bunch of little pieces and run away. So I don't really think it matters. Anyways, Muzan seeing this would immediately blow his cover, turning around and basically having tons of demons swarm the area by turning multiple different people into demons now, sending them all at Tanjiro. Tanjiro didn't want this situation to turn out of hand, but he was not going to let the killer of his family go in this timeline. That just was not what Tanjiro was about. So he straight up got into combat and took down every demon that Muzan sent at him with little to no effort at all, shocking Muzan. After all this would take place, this is where Muzan would start calling for his upper moons to appear. The first one that can appear, obviously the fastest, would be none other than Akaza. It's basically he was like the one that he always had on standby, pretty much. So Akaza shows up and he thinks he's gonna fight Tanjiro. He shows up thanks to Nakama's like devil blood art, demon blood art, of course, you know, from the castle. And Akaza goes to try to fight Tanjiro. And the battle lasts for like 2 minutes because immediately Akaza is beheaded by Tanjiro and he doesn't even know what happened. And Tanjiro is just sitting there like, really? That was supposed to be an insanely strong demon? I guess his neck was kind of stronger, but not really. Tanjiro, by this point, already knowing the 13th form because, well, duh, obviously you would already know that. He's been training with sun breathing for like 2 years at this point, using it against all the demons I already pointed out and like 30 more. He has been testing out sun breathing throughout all his trials and tribulations, using it to get stronger and stronger. He had already like figured out the 13th form at this point. So yeah, it's safe to say Tanjiro just straight up easily defeats Akaza. Like Akaza wasn't relative to like Tanjiro in the transparent world. Tanjiro was born with the transparent world and actually has had time to train with it. I don't really think this is so crazy to the point to believe that Tanjiro would negative diff Akaza. If anything, it just makes way too much sense. So anyways, after Akaza gets negative diffed, this is where Doma comes because, well, Akaza just got beheaded and is obviously evaporating into nothing. Everybody around is just looking at this scene, losing their minds as multiple different people just start running and screaming. Everybody can't believe what's happening. Like, they're seeing people's heads get cut off in these large explosions and these gigantic clashes and what have you. Doma shows up trying to use his ice to do something to Tanjiro, but before Doma even can see what happens, he's perception blissed and Tanjiro's already cut his head off and destroyed the rest of his body with sun breathing. Doma getting defeated in like 10 seconds, not even being able to understand how he was beheaded or how he even like ultimately died. With this being said, this is when none other than the other upper moons like Daki and Gitaru leave their stations, along with Hutango and whoever Upper 5 is. I don't even know what Upper 5's name is, but ultimately he shows up too. And they all try to jump Tanjiro at this point, thinking that maybe they can do something, even though the stronger moons had lost. This was a miscalculation, as immediately they're defeated by Tanjiro before they even know what's happened. Daki and Gitaru get their heads cut off at the same time just because of how fast Tanjiro just literally is. And the other ones just stood no chance against them no matter what they tried. Even though they didn't even get to try anything, their heads were cut off before they even could try anything in the first place. All of this being said is where Kokushibo would show up, finally, thinking that this is ridiculous. There's no way one guy can defeat all of these people. Like, unless he was like Yoriichi or something. Ha ha ha. Hint hint. Ultimately, Kokushibo would obviously do way better than everybody else, actually making Tanjiro get slightly tired. But this is only due to the fact that Tanjiro took out all the other demons, you know, and had been doing this for quite some time at this point. And his body was not fully matured as Yoriichi's was at this point, so that's kind of the only limitation holding Tanjiro back. Either way, Tanjiro uses the 13th form and cuts Kokushibo's head off, which he regrows, and Tanjiro cuts it off again, shocking Kokushibo as he immediately overpowered him right after he went full power. Kokushibo just accepts that their sky is somewhat like Yoriichi and just gives up. So at this point, all of Muzan's ultimate fighting force has just been reduced to shreds, outside of the remaining members of his lower moons, which Tanjiro clearly would destroy at this point, which Muzan can see. Muzan would realize that this swordsman is like Yoriichi and would immediately get terrified and ultimately try to run away like he did originally against Yoriichi. But this would not work against Tanjiro, as Tanjiro had been studying ultimately how Yoriichi had not been able to beat Muzan, or basically he had been studying the events. He didn't know it was Yoriichi, but he had been basically studying the events and like the tabs, which I'm going to be saying that exist, and Orokaki had ultimately been going over them with Tanjiro, and basically he had learned that there was once a demon slayer that defeated Muzan, and by that he was ultimately able to defeat him, but it didn't matter because Muzan just ran away. Another thing that I also want to say, since Tanjiro technically has like inherited memories from Yoriichi anyways, and since he literally just has his powers from birth and stuff, they're going to be saying that he just has some of those memories anyways, which is why he knew to look for them in the first place. So because of this, Tanjiro would know all these things, and ultimately when Muzan tries to do the whole running away thing, Tanjiro would ultimately grab a bag and ultimately slice Muzan into pieces, throw him in a bag, and ultimately after that, he would basically just keep putting bags over Muzan over and over again until, well, Muzan ultimately wouldn't be able to escape these bags. And eventually the sun would come out and Tanjiro would dump the bag into the sun, where we would see Muzan burn up as Muzan would die, feeling that he wasn't able to achieve his goals and just being very saddened by all of this. Ultimately, Tanjiro would smile, being extremely happy that he was able to kill the person that ultimately killed his family. And with that being said, Tanjiro also just pretty much did the entire Demon Corp's job in this arc. He still goes on to meet Lady Tamayo and Yujashiro in this arc, which of course they would obviously tell him that they can potentially help Nezuko turn back into a human, of course. And frankly, Tamayo thought Tanjiro was joking, but she could feel his connection to her connection to Muzan fading, or just completely gone at this point, even though it was pretty much gone already. Ultimately, Tamayo just cannot believe that Tanjiro's even existing. Ultimately, this was pretty much where all things go good. Eventually, Nezuko gets the serum and becomes a human again. Tanjiro eventually goes to the Butterfly Mansion, tells him that he beat Muzan and all the upper moons. And basically, the Demon Slayer Corps hunts down the rest of the remaining demons and kills all of them, except Tamayo and Yushiro, because they're cool. And after all that happens, Nezuko becomes a human, Tanjiro avenged his family, and that's pretty much the end of the What If movie. Yeah, I know that's kind of crazy or whatever, but that's kind of literally what happens. I don't know what to tell you. In the city, I just felt like Tanjiro would negative diff Muzan. I don't think he would have waited. And I just think no matter how many demons you send to this version of Tanjiro, you're beating him. He had already trained Sun Breathing to the point of 13th form. He was able to train in Transparent World his whole life. And he's had it his whole life too. So yeah, I just don't know how any of them would do anything. So yeah, if you guys did end up enjoying this movie, please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and notifications bell, be informed about new videos. I'm sorry this is one of the shorter ones today, but it was literally on my desktop, and frankly, again, I didn't have that much time to record, but I promise you, this is literally what was written. This is literally word for word what was written on my computer. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, I appreciate it, and I'm gonna get up out of here. I haven't really, wasted too much of your time today, but still, yeah, I really don't know how you guys will feel about this, but I thought it was pretty good. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys next What If. Deuces. I'm out, guys.